Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
Redistricting seems to be the plan from the two, in my opinion, criminal parties. Trump tightens grip on one of the criminal parties. Numerous prestigious law schools are breaking the law, in my humble opinion, to which I'm entitled. China playing both sides in the war. China flooding markets. Americans' trade deficit seems to get bigger every single day, no matter what anybody does. Trump basically pushing for self-deportation incentives. Dollar General in the news. I mean, it just goes on and on with the news we could talk about. So let's just get right to it, shall we? Redistricting efforts, ladies and gentlemen, are all the talk. Southern states following Supreme Court decision. The recent Supreme Court decision basically said, hey, it's a key provision of the Voting Rights Act. And so Republican governors in Alabama and Tennessee have initiated efforts to redraw their, quote, congressional districts. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey calling for a, quote, special session to adjust the maps, they say, to favor Republicans before the midterms. I guess Alabama's current delegation includes 2 Democrats out of 7 members right now, so it's already quite Republican. In Tennessee, Governor Bill Lee also convening a, quote, special session aimed at, quote, reconfiguring the congressional district. And it's historically voted Democratic a lot in some of the big cities there. They want to change all that. I've got a problem with all of it, folks. And the reason that I do is because I don't favor the Republicans or the Democrats. Okay? I understand what we're talking about, but what gives these private groups special privilege to do this? And each party, all they do is blame the other party. The Republicans say the Democrats want to gerrymander. They want to manipulate it unfairly to their advantage. And the Democrats say the Republicans want to do the same thing. Pat Buchanan wisely called it the left and right wings of the same bird of prey. And I concur with him. He's 100% right. These parties are criminal, both of them. Are the Democrats worse than the Republicans? Yes. Right now they are. Neither of them are really great, right? I don't want either of them. But that's kind of the problem, is that the parties are so entrenched that they have basically taken over. They're private institutions, but they literally control politics with these gerrymanderings on both sides. This constant turf war between the two gangs. This constant bickering back and forth. This constant, we're going to argue with everybody else and kick everybody else out of the debates, out of the discussions, out of the elections. In fact, we're going to create special elections for our private party called primaries. And so we're going to divide up the public and have them vote on their, quote, gang leader. And then we'll have a matchup. We'll have a playoffs, the gang leader against the gang leader, right? While the third party people or the independent people or the people who don't want to be part of either gang are disenfranchised 100%. It even goes down to not only do they get special interest laws and privileges and guidelines, a Republican primary, what's that? It's a private entity gang group having an election before the real election. Then they go ahead and rig how ballots look. Hey, are you going to vote straight Republican? Are you going to vote straight Democrat? What if you had a straight Sam Bushman kind of vote? You know, you could vote straight Sam Bushman. What would that be? That would be a constitutional vote all the way down the ballot, right? See, but would that be fair? Is that honorable to give me a special privilege or special rights and special? Yeah. See, that's the problem with all this, right? And then it goes on because not only do they put all kinds of laws in place to benefit themselves, they have pre-elections of their own kind of private party elections that then feed into the elections, but they do it with laws to lock everybody else out. For me to even have my own name on the ballot, I got to pay a bunch of money. Then I got to, if I want to be on any party, I got to work to build a party. If I don't want a party, then I'm just like independent. I'm kind of a nobody on there. It's impossible across all states, as many have seen. Pat Buchanan, many others have seen this. It's very difficult. Ron Paul tried this on the Libertarian Party. It's hard to get any third-party positioning because the insiders have literally rigged the game so against anybody else but them. And then they act like they hate each other on the national stage, but yet they really just share power, don't they? And so now the Republicans are saying, hey, we had the House, the Senate, the White House, the courts, midterms. We'll stumble a bit and give you guys a little bit of a shared power there. Isn't that really what's going on? So to me, you got this recent Supreme Court ruling that weakened provisions of the Voting Rights Act. Do we really need a Voting Rights Act? Or is that just more congressional manipulation by the Republicans and Democrats to share power at the expense of the rest of us? Then, not only do they do that, then they have special privilege money at the trough. So if you're a Republican or Democratic candidate, you can get matching funds and all kinds of government handouts, taxpayers funding both sides of the aisle. So think about that. I, Sam Bushman, don't want to be a member of either party because I think they're clowns. I think the party should be over. The founding fathers, especially George Washington, warned against parties. So I'm against them, okay? And I think they'll absolutely destroy this country. And the proof is in the pudding. Congress is at an all-time low rating. So is the media because they all promote this partisan shenanigan, this gang member politics idea. But anyway, so I'm against parties. So now I want to vote for somebody. Let's say I vote for a Constitution Party member. Do you realize that I'm funding as a taxpayer the two special interest groups and their matching funds? And I'm funding their debates and everything else. And I'm not even voting for any of them. But I'm forced to fund them out of my taxes regardless. And of course, my candidate doesn't get enough support. Therefore, hey, we can't cover them in the media because they're nobodies. Can't let them participate in the debate because they're nobodies. And that way we will ensure they remain nobodies, right? It's a disgrace. So now you got governors that want to push for the redistricting, initiating efforts to redraw. So now you got the governors in power pushing for their special interest group, pushing for their gang. So if you're in a Democrat-controlled state, they're pushing for the Democrat gang. They used your money, your tax matching funding, your dollars to get there. They used all the rules and laws in place that benefit them to get there. And now they're going to use it to even further polarize, even further divide, even further entrench their own gang into power. It's absolute criminal, folks. The parties are criminal. You can say, Sam, you've gone way too far, buddy. You're way too extreme. All right, here's what I want to do to you people who say that kind of stuff to me. I'm extreme. You're the one stealing my tax dollars for both parties at the expense of anyone else. So you've got the lever of government pulled in your favor for your special gang. And then I bring it up and you say, I'm the bad guy. But you guys are the ones that are doing it, not me. I'm just the one to call the con game to a halt. I'm just the one to shut down the shenanigans. I'm just the truth teller focused on honest government, the proper role of limited government. And that means we vote for individuals based on their individual merits, based on their ability to convey issues and articulate their stance. And over time, show me that they're for real and et cetera, not based on a party. And now we've got the party so much above the people that the headline says this: Donald Trump tightens grip on GOP after major primary victories. So think about it. Primaries are not really elections. They're private party standoffs, if you will. And so now Donald Trump is going to tighten his grip on the GOP. So he's the gang leader, the Donald. And the Donald's going to tighten his grip on his gang after that special privilege election they just had. See? Trump-backed candidates. So gang leader backed. They're his men, right? Trump-backed candidates dominated key special gang called Republican primaries in Indiana and Ohio, cementing the president's or the king's growing control over the GOP heading into the midterms. So Donald Trump, has won a few races in these special privilege elections, and he tightens his grip on his gang. Now, I want you to tell me how that's not true. So here's what I want to do to you naysayers who say, Sam, how dare you say that? That's just not right. I want to have you come on the radio and or TV with me, and let's have a debate about this. Let's have a Republican. Pick your man. If you want it to be the gang leader, by all means. If you want to go ahead and have it be Nancy Pelosi on the Democrat side, or AOC, or I don't know, who else might you have? Bring them. Joaquin Jeffries, bring him, okay? Whoever you want for the gang's other side leader. Not sure who the leader is yet. If you want to bring Kamala, by all means. And so it'll be Donald Trump and Kamala. Then you got to bring a third party or two to kind of round it out and be fair. And then you got to have Sam Bushman, who says the party's over. And what we'll do is get on a panel. We'll get a fair couple of moderators. And we'll have an absolute throwdown panel debate on this sucker. Anybody up for it?
Are you watching what's happening in our country and asking, what can I do? Join the John Birch Society in Salt Lake City, June 6th, for a powerful one-day conference. The day includes a host of respected speakers, 2 meals, and meaningful connections. You'll gain clarity on the issues and walk away with practical steps you can take to your community. Reserve your seat today at jbs.org/SLC26. That's jbs.org/SLC26.
I believe there will come a time when we are all judged on whether or not we took a stand in defense of all life from the moment of conception until our last natural breath. As a teenager, I gave my first public speech in my church. My hand shook, my heart pounded. I thought to myself, I can't do this, but somehow I did, and because I wanted to talk about things that were important, I persisted. I chided my church as a senior in high school for not seeming to care about the not yet born, for looking the other way, and for not taking a stand on life. I will be in earnest. I will not equivocate, and I will not excuse. I will not retreat an inch, and I will be heard. One thing I promise you, I will always take a stand for life.
All right, Trump-backed candidates dominated key Republican primaries, and so now Trump cements his control over the GOP even further. Sounds like a gang, doesn't it, folks? Just saying. All right, I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. Law-breaking, in my humble opinion, everywhere. I think Sam Bushman is a more brave, better name than Republican, don't you, Zach? I mean, if you could be part of the Sam Bushman party, wouldn't you think that the Sam Bushman gang should be, I mean, I'm even better than what, MS-13? It'd be like SB 21 or something. What would I call mine? SB 42? Instead of the, okay. I'm just saying, look, these parties are nothing but gangs, folks. They co-opt elections. They gerrymander and manipulate elections. They use the courts. They use the government. They use the legislature. They use the law. They use their special privileges, positions of power. I mean, the Founding Fathers, go read it. Go study the Founding Fathers. They were fearful of parties. They literally told you it would destroy the nation, and boy, howdy, do you see it now? Anyway, I digress. I want to move to some of these other stories before the end of the hour. Numerous prestigious law schools, including Columbia, the University of Chicago, UCLA, and Harvard, believe it or not now, incorporate clinics. Listen, clinics, workshops, if you will, into their curriculum that teach law students to represent illegal immigrants. So think about this. You're going to law school. You're going to go to one of these big old prestigious rock star schools, and they're going to teach you how to advocate for and promote illegal immigrants, illegal aliens. These courses often involve direct courtroom representation, role modeling, and role playing, assistance with understanding the legal paperwork required, and advocacy, believe it or not, that may counteract immigration and customs, in other words, ICE operations. So you're an attorney, you're going to law school, they're going to teach you how to basically fight ICE and promote and protect criminal, alien illegality. Think about that. Mandated by the American Bar Association, another criminal enterprise gang, in my humble opinion. They use it to fill what's called experiential learning hours. So, let me say this over. Experiential learning hours is kind of like you learn by experience hours. So, like a lot of times in high school, they'll do experiential learning, and it's kind of like if you want to learn to be a baker, learn to be a musician, or you can go spend a day or two or a week with them and learn how they do their work and everything else. So it's experiential learning for attorneys, and they fulfill their experiential learning hours in these law clinics that are flat out aligned with the encouragement of pro bono work for attorneys. So what does that mean? It means you're going to give away your work for free to promote illegal aliens against ICE. Yeah. So you're getting free beneficial experiential learning hours to learn how to fight against our own government and promote and protect illegal aliens. These programs, they say, typically educate students on defending immigration cases, including asylum seeking and deportation resistance. They want to do this through what they call historical and racial perspectives. They often collaborate with pro-immigration groups and actively participate in broader activism against what they call perceived racial bias in current immigration laws. They say this immigrational approach is widespread among the nation's top 10 law schools, reflecting a, quote, strong academic focus on advancing immigration rights and reforming immigration policy. Think about that for a minute. Wow. It's a disgrace, folks. And many of these schools are getting your tax dollars to promote this racial agenda, to promote this ability to pro bono, give free work to illegals, and to then wage a war between these trained attorneys by these top law schools and ICE. And then, of course, we keep the education department live and well, don't we? Donald ain't shutting nothing down, is he? The sumo wrestler, what do you want to call it? Professional wrestling, whatever lady, isn't getting it done, is she? I wish she was, but this educational approach is widespread among Americans' top 10 law schools. It's insane. All right, China plays both parts, both sides of the aisle. What do I mean? We're talking about the Iran war, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And in the Iran war, China wants to just have their cake and they want to eat it too. That's really, seems to me like what's going on here. I don't know why. I don't know why this is happening, but it is, right? And it's disaster that we're allowing a lot of this to happen, okay? But we are. Okay. I don't know why it's this way, but we just, I don't know. We work with China. We promote China. So as Americans burn through weapons, cash, and military focus in the escalating Iran conflict, China is quietly working both angles on this thing. They're quietly pushing Iran towards negotiations on one side, while allowing Chinese companies to fulfill what they call dual-use materials and possible military support into Tehran. So on one hand, they're saying, yeah, negotiate, guys. On the other hand, they're building Iran's ability to fight, to stand against us. Beijing sees opportunity in America, the distraction that it's causing, weakened stockpiles, and shifting power balance, all while positioning itself as the, quote, peace broker. Yeah. So Trump's meeting with all these people and all these high stakes things. Behind the scenes, China's manipulating things to their advantage. The result, China gains leverage whether the war grows or whether the war ends. And now China floods markets. America pays the price. Trade deficits surge once again as the courts slam the brakes on tariffs. So now you got these inner conflicts. The courts are against the Donald, so they slam the brakes, and now the trade deficit grows. The U.S. trade deficit jumped 4.4%, folks, to more than $60 billion in March. After the Supreme Court struck down many of Trump's tariff provisions, triggering a, quote, fresh wave of imports and reigniting America's fears that we're so dependent on foreign manufacturing. Exports hit record highs thanks to, quote, oil and agriculture. That's great, right? Export hit super highs. But imports climbed even faster as everybody rushes to bring products into the country before prices even go up further. The administration is now scrambling to, quote, rebuild its trade strategy with new tariff investigations tied to forced labor. Yeah, wow. And foreign production. So Donald Trump is still trying to set up a high-stakes battle with China, but in the meantime, he's losing. America's trade deficit widens again after tariff shakeup. The U.S. trade tariff deficit climbs as imports surge. It's disaster, folks. All right, the Trump administration, though, is pushing for self-deportation now. They've got incentives to do it. So we, the taxpayers, are going to pay people to leave this country. So much for the biggest deportation in history. It's not happening, and Trump's hoping they'll self-do it. Federal officials unveil new financial incentives aimed at curbing people from coming to America and incentives aimed at illegal immigrants to voluntarily leave the country. What a disgrace. Meanwhile, Dollar General plans to open 450 new stores in the U.S. in 2026. Why? Because they know everybody needs the dollar store. Nobody can afford to go to normal stores anymore. You got to go to the dollar store where everything's tiny and everything costs, well, it used to be the dollar store. Now it's Dollar General, but now everything costs $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $10. Who knows? But there you go. The company posted strong third quarter sales and profit for high and low income customers now. There you have it. And the last story of the hour. Amazon declares war on UPS and FedEx as their shipping empire goes public. Amazon's no longer, ladies and gentlemen, just delivering its own packages. No, sir. The retail giant is opening its massive logistics machine to outside corporations, turning its warehouses, its trucking fleets, aircraft, and delivery network into a full-scale competitor against traditional shipping companies. Major brands, including Procter & Gamble, so that's, tomato soup and everybody else, right? American Eagle Outfitters, 3M have already signed on. Everybody's jumping aboard. Investors are hammering FedEx and UPS stocks in response. The move mirrors Amazon's earlier expansion into cloud computing. So people are saying they're going to take over shipping and distribution, that kind of stuff, like they did the computer industry. Well, it's a tragic reality, folks. We'll keep an eye on the ball. Hard-hitting news all hour long. Thanks for being alongside with the ride. Hopefully it was educational and somewhat entertaining. Go ahead and get that little device, put it on your table, and record all your conversations. That's what they want you to do. Then send it to the cloud, and then let the government just monitor everything you say and do. We're in an absolute spy society, folks, and your government is at the helm of it. It's got to stop. Reject FISA 702. Stand up, people. Come on. All right, I'm Sam Bushman, LibertyRoundtable.com, LibertyNewsRadio.com. That's the radio side. TV, YouTube, Rumble, we're everywhere. God save the Republic of the United States of America.